Corner comes in, back post, nice flick away. Lands with Allen, and that is the final whistle this evening here at Parkside. The final score is Aveley 0, Maidstone United 3, as we get thumbs up from some of the locals who managed to contain themselves this evening and act with a better level of language than some others did who might have let their side down. But not letting the side down, Nigel, is the 14 that got out there. It was the 15 in the end that got out there for the Stones. Aveley 0, Maidstone United 3. Give us your thoughts on a stonking good win to push the Stones up the table.
Yeah, exactly that. And like you say, it was an all-round team performance, wasn't it? You know, it's managed the game very well. We got the goals. You know, we kept the clean sheet. We got the goals in the second half that just kind of put the gloss on it. But like we said there on commentary, you know, you look back at the game now, it's over, and Aveley really didn't have a shot on target, did they? I can't see that.
Yeah,
there was that close one from Trees Owen, but it went wide, didn't it?
Yeah.
You know, and Andre Gideon's not had to make a save in anger, and you know his handling was good when the crosses came in, and we defended them well. We marked up well. You know, we obviously knew where their threats were. They had a big side, but I said at half time as well, I think Reece Greenwich back in that defence there just adds that little bit of calmness, I think, to the defending. And the attacks we had up front, we were always asking questions. You know, every time that ball broke, you know, we was always a threat. You were a threat from set pieces with long throw-ins from Charlie Seaman there as well, and you know Ben Brooks coming on, getting that assist of the assist, put that ball in for Reece Greenwich to head it down. You know, and you could tell every time that ball went into the box, they were dubbing up on Reece Greenwich just because they knew the threat he was. So, you know, yeah, and it's good. And this is now, we're now starting to see what Jordan Hicks has brought into the team for. You know, he's been out for all those weeks. He was just composed in there, wasn't he? Just got us forward, got us up the pitch nicely. You know, there's none of this hoofing it up all the time. Yes, we did hoof it up and that, because obviously you've got the pace of Blair and Rush there that can get in beyond those defenders. And we said it as well that the Bungalow and Aaron Blair had a battle all night, you know, and Blair was using his pace to try and get round him, and he did it on a couple of occasions and had a shot just before the end of the first half there. And you know, we were always asking questions, and it was always going to be how many Maidstone would score, and you know, the if, you know. So. And
it was Matt Rush who got the first one, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that trickling shot from distance, and some recompense from the weekend goals that he may or may not have scored in whomever's eyes you're viewing it from.
Yeah, exactly that. And you know, the justice was served up there with that third goal, wasn't it? You know, for those that we look back on the highlights, and it will show on the highlights. I'm sure there will be pictures going around in the next few hours, but it's very similar to that Cousins mistake for Ebbsfleet in the FA Cup game, wasn't it? Where he never really got a clean handle on the ball. He was almost like a butterfingers, didn't he? And he tried to juggle it, and he did take a step back behind the line. But whether he took the ball with him, he was trying to sort of push it away, sort of thing, wasn't he? Rather than because he knew he was off balance. But you know, the referee didn't make a decision straight away. The Aveley bench sort of like were cheering and gesturing and laughing, but he did the right thing. You know, he took his time. He didn't award the goal or wave play on straight away. Called it up the play, went over and spoke to his linesman, and they decided amongst them that they'd seen enough that it was a goal. So you know, sometimes you've got to go with that and see what happens.
Yeah. Of course, Sam Corn missing that penalty, picking up that yellow card as well. Frustrating night for him, but again, he was able to be released further forward tonight, wasn't he? Because of Higgs being back in the side. A few changes from Saturday. And again, like you keep saying, Nigel, the Stones were on the front foot, and it wasn't until Ben Brooks came on. Wonderfully worked set piece for the second goal, wasn't it? Brooks with a diagonal ball to the back post. Greenwich header across goal. George Fowler, of all people, with his once a season as well. We've had Bivesh's once a season last week, and now we've got it with Fowler as well, getting his customary one goal for the season as well, and that made it 2-0. And at that point, you are thinking that the Stones are going to be fairly comfortable at that point, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly that. And I think a little bit of that was Aveley losing their heads a little bit. Like I said there on commentary, you know, when you're down the bottom fighting for your life, you just got to keep your composure, because you never know when a mistake's going to happen. But if you're just giving the ball away and you're arguing every decision that the referee's giving, you just wind yourself up, and you don't actually play with any fluidity, or you just we've said about their fighting spirit, and they came into this league last year, sort of calling themselves the pub team from Essex, and that's all very well for so long, but you can't keep going on with that. You've got to have that quality's got to come out eventually, and you could maybe try and install that backs to the wall and them against us kind of mentality, but when you come up against a class side like Maidstone were tonight, and you're patient in your build-up, you've got to do something extra to match that, haven't you? You can't just keep relying on that, If they'd have got the first goal, then you can see that game plan working, but because that frustration then would go on to the Maidstone side. But we've said it so many times, once you get that first goal, and then you just keep your composure, just push on. The only downside would be that penalty, but again, even that decision, we've seen back the pictures of it, and it was a clear handball. There was a shot on target, and it was deflected away by the hand. So, looking back at it, the player's lucky he didn't get a red card, really, because he's denied a goal scoring opportunity, hasn't he? Really? It wasn't right on the line, which would have been a clear red card, but it was a penalty. So, you can argue all you like, but you just, it was a good, comfortable performance from Maidstone, and we've got more than the one goal, and we've boosted our goal difference, and just looking at the live league table after the results, we just have
Maidstone up into 10th now.
Yep.
Boreham Wood have managed to win it from 2 down to 3-2 up at Chelmsford full time, so the Stones are 3 points outside the playoffs. There would have been 2 points 2 points outside if Boreham Wood had drawn or lost this evening. But say it quietly, Nigel, Maidstone United are 8 points off of the top of the division.
Yeah, and that's Truro, who is our next game. So again, that's the other advantage that we've now got nearly 2 weeks off now. So a lot of those players that are covering niggling injuries like Ben Brooks, we hopefully can have that time to recover and be fit and ready. So it's all good signs going forward. And now we're starting to get our bigger players and our game changers back on the pitch. And on the bench as well, that you can come off and make that difference. So potentially we could be sort of like, we've still got a game in hand on Truro, so 8 points off the top, beat them in the next game, 5 points off with a game in hand. It's such a tight league, and we've been saying it, all season, haven't we? There's no clear runaway winners. There's no one that's taken the league by the horns and run with it. So it's going to be that team that's going to deliver the consistency. And
you go from one C word 3 months ago with Chelmsford, and you've got one C word coming up in just over 3 weeks. And Maidstone, of course, have been unbeaten in that 3 months in the league, still unbeaten on the road in the league. And we had that one C word 3 months ago. The C word in 3 weeks' time, of course, is the other big C, is Christmas. And you are wondering what Stone's position is going to be like come the big day before the trip to Tunbridge. There's only those 2 games, we believe. We're still waiting for Salisbury confirmation whether it's pre or post Crimbo. We'll bring you that news, as will the club, as soon as we get it, of course. But might be people getting carried away with themselves here, Nigel, thinking about Christmas coming early, and the Stones potentially getting themselves a bit further up the tree this season, because I know the 3 of the 4 seasons we've had before, our 18th game, we've been second in the division after 18 games. So the only seasons we weren't were the COVID season, before it got disrupted in the March, and of course this season. So the Stones have been setting themselves a very high standard at this level with their runs, because after 18 games being in second spot 3 out of 4 times, 3 out of 5 times in our history at this level, it's a hard act to follow. But when you see there's only 8 points from, it was probably 8 points between us and Yeovil this time last season, though, wasn't it, to be fair? So, and I know there's half a dozen extra positions between us. We were 8 points behind Yeovil after 18 games. So an 8 point gap from the top means something very different this season than it did last. So it's all positive for the Stones, as you'd say, Nigel.
Exactly that. And, we just got to, I think that, like we said there, your players are now starting to get with George's system, George and Craig and management team, we've got big players returning now, and they're getting used to playing in this environment, because, it's all right like we said, teams like Aveley, you know, 600 was a good crowd for them this season. They normally play in front of 500 odds their average, and you know, but if you've got to get used to playing in that atmosphere. You know, we've got the performances behind us now. We had those early defeats at home, and that was kind of holding us back a little bit. But we're still unbeaten away from home. You know, that record now. You know, we're towards the top of the form table now. Again, it's all positive stuff. You know, we've just got one step at a time. Keep accumulating the points and just, you know, see where it goes. They always say, you know, see where you are at Christmas and then go again. You know, and you know, we're now getting our players back. And I'm sure, you know, and George has come out and said it in the local media. You know, they're always looking to it for that improvement of players, and players will, from a high level, will be attractive. If you're sitting near the top of your league and you're on a good run of form, they want to come and perform in that, don't they? You know, we get good crowds at home. You know, it's a good environment to be in, a good positive environment, and you know, we're now starting to see the points for the efforts that we're putting in, and you know, we played some lovely stuff this today, especially really that first half. You know, the link-up play between Corn and Papadopoulos that first half, and
the set piece, that second goal. I know it's a proper old school goal, but the work on the training ground, you can see. People always say that it's not always there from the defensive part of things, but the irony that 3 of the defenders on the pitch at that time have combined 3, 4, 5. I mean, it was hook, line and sinker.
You know, we were saying about Greenwich there. We were saying about Greenwich, you know, he did well to get that assist, and you know, it was a potential threat. But then you've got players like Temi Aweka, who's already got 3 goals this year from corners, from being up there. So you know, we've got threats there all over the park, and we've got game changers coming off the bench, and you know, hopefully with more players to sort of like come back from fitness, like in Kiprianu and Tatey, you know, Trusty. You know, it's all looking good signs. So, you know, like we always say, keep the faith and let's, you know, restart getting some positive momentum behind the side. I think it's there. You know, people are not silly. They know that we are. You know, people just. Sides that we come up against now are sort of noticing that Maidstone are a good side.
Yep.
You know, you saw it from St Albans on Saturday. You know, they was happy to get a point against Maidstone.
Yeah.
You know, because they see what a good side and a good team we are. So, you know, we've just got to look after ourselves and keep accumulating them points, and it's onwards and upwards, I'm sure. Notice
has been served, Nigel. So us two, Nigel, myself, we're off to Tiger, as you would do in Essex, of course, to celebrate that result before we head back home to. Sorry, it's been turned into a hotel. What? Shut up! I've been waiting 6 weeks to use that line. Right, well, on that note, we will see you for the next preview ahead of the trip to Truro. Nigel will be back by my side for that one. That will be my last preview of the year. Don't all cheer, whoop and holler too quickly. For the trip to Truro, myself and Adrian Sharp will be down there for you, setting off probably tomorrow to get down there in time, frankly. We will bring you commentary of that one a week on Saturday from 2:40 here on Stones Live. Thanks for your company again. Thanks for your company again. Thanks for your company again tonight. And as always, Nigel,
come on, you Stones!
Good night. Take care, all.